Peace River Forage Association got started in 1992 by a group of people who wanted to have an association that could represent the interests of the industry in the region. One of the goals of the association is to help its members and forage producers in the area in general to maximize their profitability while also being environmentally sustainable. My name is Nadia Mori. I'm the current coordinator of the Peace River Forage Association, or PRFA for short. The mission of the PRFA aligns really well with some of the goals that the Peace Region Living Lab has, in that the PRFA is very much interested in sharing knowledge, sharing the latest practices, sharing ideas that have worked for some of the producers and have them being adopted by other producers in the area to help them also be profitable and sustainable. And that is also a main goal of the Living Lab in terms of sharing knowledge and increasing the adoption of beneficial management practices.
I'm Heather Fossum, and currently I'm working as the communications contractor. Before that, I was a director for a few years and been, involved with the association as a member since my late teens, when I got to be a summer student with the BC Forage Council, and we did projects to help out the Forage Association. So the Forage Association, I think, is a wonderful way for forage producers to get together and share knowledge, but it's also a way to sort of broadcast and let people know about the great things that we're doing. And so being part of the Living Lab just amplifies our ability to do that. And really, forage is the backbone of the livestock industry. By having animals on the landscape, it's allowing us to enhance the biodiversity and conserve it, but also it allows so many different ways for us to try and sequester carbon in the soil that we wouldn't be doing on that land otherwise.
My name is Josh Stovey, and this is our ranch. I farm with my wife Rochelle. I think the biggest benefit of being involved with the Forage Association is to be aware of other projects and other ideas, rather than just, okay, this is my experience, what I'm doing, this is what my neighbor's doing. We can kind of look at what a whole bunch of people are doing and what a whole bunch of people have tried. I think that's the biggest benefit for me, for sure. And then to be able to have numbers and stuff to go along with that. I really like having numbers of something, even if it wasn't successful. Like, okay, so this is maybe how it worked and where it didn't, and numbers are really important for that. The reason we went with the Living Labs and decided to go with that is we wanted to actually be able to, objectively say, okay, you're actually improving the soil, rather than just, we think we're improving the soil. We want to actually say, okay, yeah, this is the measurable effects of our management styles. Whether that's bale grazing and the effects of that, or if it's, just being able to graze over the whole thing, and being able to be a little bit more management intensive.
I'm Rob Larson, and we have Pure Pasture Regenerative Farm, which is about 6,000 acres of rented land, and we have a variety of livestock on the land. We have cattle, chickens, pigs, turkeys, sheep, goats. For the Living Lab, we're doing vermicomposting. We are doing vermicomposting outside, so our worms are living in piles of undecomposed manure, and we're taking the vermicompost from that and making vermicompost tea, and also inoculating some grass seed. The area we're doing this in is heavily compacted soil that has been grazed on continuously for a number of years. We moved onto the property about 7 years ago. However, we have seen improvements in just management over that 7-8 year period. Do that instead of, say, tilling it up and starting from scratch. Vermicomposting is very new to us, and we're learning a lot about the do's and don'ts of it.
My name's Neil Ward. Well, we're on the Halfway Ranch, but the company I operate is called Roundup 80 Ranch. It was a company my parents started, and I continued on with the company, but moved here from South Calgary in 2014 to ranch up here. When we started out, it was called HRM, holistic range management way back in the day. It's progressed, but the principles haven't changed. We're doing very controlled grazes. I'd like to see the results of what that does to the soil and the grass and the density and the stocking capacity. We know that it increases it when it increases the productivity of the land, but to quantify that would be really neat.
I guess the biggest number that I get that would be beneficial to me would be organic matter. And basically that's a measure of carbon in the soil, which means all kinds of things. That's the ability for plants to grow, that's water to both infiltrate and to be held there for plant use in drier times. And so that's the biggest number that I want to see improve.
Biggest thing is we're looking for biodiversity and less compaction. So the living labs will help us continue to benchmark and also provide us with some, people that are experts in the field of soil health to be able to see what else we can do to enhance that.
There is just a huge amount of land, agricultural land in the world, that isn't available for cropping for one reason or another. There's too much erosion, it's too rocky, but it is able to provide some sort of food base for us because we're able to graze our livestock in one form or another on that land.
There's quite a few ways that cattle can soil build, and I think the biggest one is that cattle are actually very inefficient, and so they might be eating a lot of grass, but they actually aren't taking a lot of that off of the field. They're depositing a lot of those nutrients, probably 80-85% of those nutrients are back on the pasture. And with the cows, you're actually able to produce more organic matter in the form of plants than without the cows, because they're able to graze it, and those plants say, okay, we need to grow again, and they use sunlight and energy from that to be able to regrow more organic matter, and then they're able to utilize that again. And so it's actually a cycle that enables more organic matter to be deposited.
Speak on behalf of all producers, the ones that understand and the ones that don't understand what EG&S is. It's not being measured and quantified. And I think this is going to be a really good opportunity for everybody to stand up and say, we're not bad as agriculture. We are helping. We are doing a good thing. Here's the evidence of it. Show that having grazing animals in the ecosystem is actually a really important thing to maintaining biodiversity. That's really important.
What I want people to see is when they drive by a field full of cows, not just a whole bunch of grass-eating, planet-destroying animals, but actually soil building and environment helping.
We can do a lot better job about saying, I choose to eat meat because I'm supporting biodiversity. I choose to eat meat because I know I'm helping sequester carbon in the soil. And I think the Forage Association and the Living Lab can help us start just passing on some of those good news stories from a real grassroots level.
The Peace region often gets forgotten. In BC, we're kind of tucked away up in the north, and folks kind of think maybe that not much is going on. I hope that the PRFA, with its 30-year history and also through the Peace Region Living Lab project, can just showcase a little bit how much we actually have going on. And we have such a tremendous wealth of innovative producers in the area and so many great things happening on the ground. And I just hope we can share even just a little slice of that through the Peace Region Living Lab.